Hello and welcome to the review for Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015 Warrior Class Steeljaw. Now, this is not, at least I don't believe it is, because he wasn't really in Prime, so this is not Steeljaw of the kind of blaster cassette fame. This is a new Decepticon Steeljaw, although, if it'll focus, probably not. Come on. Oh well. The tiny Decepticon symbol on the very front of his car is kind of scratched out, which is weird. I don't know if that's just like because he's a wolf or what, but yeah. He's got a kind of Wolverine claw that's connected in the middle. I'm assuming for stability purposes or something. I don't know. Wouldn't really do all that much since it's connected in the middle. Also, he's probably fighting primarily robots, so I don't know why he would need a claw. It's a very strong, effective claw. I really like this mode. I have no idea what kind of car this is supposed to be. It's got like a cockpit kind of area and headlights and stuff, so I don't know if this is supposed to be a Cybertron mode. I don't know really what they're going for with... really, Strongarm is the only one that looks like she could pass as an Earth vehicle. Bumblebee looks like a Tron car in bright yellow. Optimus looks like a space dump truck. I mean, Drift also kind of just looks like a freaky Tron car. This would probably only pass on like the streets of like Dubai or Japan somewhere. Like, I can't imagine this. This is not disguise. This is a terrible disguise. And Grimlock's a dinosaur, so I don't know what any of these disguises are really supposed to be hiding them from, because they don't seem... Unless it's like another, oh, they're randomly in the future and there's super technology, like they've done a couple times. But I haven't really seen any evidence of that in the show from the clips I've seen. It looks like the humans work at like a dump, or like a broken down car lot, or so. I don't know. But he's cool. I mean, I guess he's like a van? I don't even know what kind of vehicle this would be. It's like not a truck, it's not a car, it's not a van. It's like a hatchback? Like a hatchback of Doom or something? I don't even know. But it's got a spoiler, so that's cool. I have a little bit of a problem with the front half here not really wanting to stay together no matter what I do, and I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. I've kind of almost narrowed it down to the fact that this plastic up here is actually like preventing it from plugging in all the way. It seems like this stuff kind of is not the right size, so it doesn't clip properly. So you can see it kind of start to overlap there a little bit. I don't know. It's not terrible. It's not like it's falling apart, but it does kind of create an unsightly gap in his vehicle mode. So I don't know if this is just a problem with mine, or if this is just a problem with the way that the mold was designed. I might eventually figure out what the problem is though, but I haven't yet. Yeah, I don't know. Here is wave 1 and 2 in their vehicle and beast modes. To transform the hatchback of Doom, you come in here and you just kind of want to work this stuff out like that. And then it's a little weird. The door, not anything past the door, but the door, this arm and this part pegs in back there. I don't know if you can see it right there. So you kind of have to clear it up over that. And you're just trying to pull this whole side out, essentially. And you also have to pull it out from here, which is sometimes easier if you pull this open a little bit, but not always. And then that will swing down like that. And again on the other side. Then you can straighten these legs out, spin them around like that. Actually, spin them around the other way, I lied. And then this tail tucks in this way, and then you turn the ball joints around and have these facing outwards, and then you turn the ball joints around again and have this facing inwards like that. So it kind of clicks in there, and you see even in here these little things kind of fit into those little slots. So you can just pull that out, spin the tail again, leave that back because you're going to need it. And then what you're doing, it's kind of weird because this whole top part is on a double hinge right here. So you need to make sure that the head, and you'll kind of see the double hinge move this whole thing down. You need to make sure that the head is poked up like that. And then you can push this in, this whole chest piece, until you can line up these tabs inside there with the tabs right there. And those kind of lock in and fill in his chest a little bit more. Now the arms and the elbows here are a little weird. You have to slide them down, but they're on kind of delicate-ish, very thin mechanisms. So I would be pretty careful with them. And then you want to make sure they pull all the way down so that the metal bar is in the ratcheted part. And then you're going to still need to kind of pull a little bit, because the problem here, let's see if I can rotate this to show you. The problem is that the ratchet, if you try to bend this up, it's actually trying to kind of push the bar back into here. So you need to pull and then bend, or you're going to end up snapping it. And then these flip down and just kind of sit there. They have a bit of a like tab looking thing that appears like it should tab in, but it doesn't do anything. These are probably my major complaint with this toy, is that they're super floppy, but they're not on pins. They're just on those kind of pressure pop in and out kind of things. So you could very easily throw some clear nail polish or some floor polish or whatever on there, and it would probably alleviate the issue. And frankly, I'm going to need to have to use some clear nail polish on this figure anyway. And there you have Steeljaw in his robot mode. And he has some issues. I wouldn't excuse me. I wouldn't say he's terrible. He just doesn't... They didn't think of the whole standing thing. I mean, this seems like a very playable toy, and this is obviously flat, so it's supposed to stay on the ground. So it's very clear they kind of intend this to be used as a kind of a kickstand. But the other problem is, if you are transforming him, his legs have a natural click point, where they click to that point and they kind of lock in. And one would think, in a toy that is designed to transform, that click point would be the place that you want to have his feet sitting. But the problem is his feet are the front of the truck, and they're not flat. So there's really not any flat place to sit it on, but on this level, the flatness is there. So he would be standing like this. And the problem is, to get him to stand in that, you have to lean him over really, really far, and even then he barely stands, and you have to use his tail to prop him up and stuff. What I have found is that if you simply don't use that click, and actually just kind of go to the click, but don't go past the click, it gives him a little bit more flat-footedness, and you still have to use the tail, but not quite as much. I have found that he stands much better. And you still have to kind of spread his legs and tilt them out a little bit. It's just going to be kind of a thing. If you want him to stand perfectly, you're going to have to work at it a little bit more. It's a shame, but it is what it is. I really like the way he looks, and I think he's a fun toy, and I enjoy his transformation, so I'm going to overlook the fact that he doesn't stand really well, because he's going to sit on a display and look cool. And then every once in a while I'm going to take him down and transform him and dust him off, and I don't know. I don't need him to stand perfectly well all the time really easily, but it would be nice. I am definitely going to use some polish or something, both on the tail joints here, just so they have some extra stability to help stand him up, and also this. These guys right here are pretty loose, and that doesn't help with standing. He would probably stand a lot better. He is standing pretty well. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like he falls over all the time. I'm just voicing this because it's a review, and it is a point of interest on this toy. He would probably not have as much trouble standing if these weren't loose. Half of the problem with him standing is never really being able to get him on a center of gravity, because he kind of always wants to fall backwards and stuff, and that's really these being loose, and you can't really tighten this pin up here, so it's you're gonna have to tighten these two, and these being loose, because that really just means that this whole top part of his figure is kind of loose. So, but then again, like I said, it's not terrible. It's not like I can't get him to stand up. It's relatively easy to get him to stand. I also am not a huge fan of these things. But, meh. I do wish they locked in or something. I guess that would make you lose the outward motion, but that doesn't really look very natural anyway, and he's already limited to basically this, so I don't know. His arms aren't awesome, but pretty much everything about his arms aren't very awesome. His limbs kind of suck. That's a shame. I just realized that. Really, his arms and legs kind of suck, but I'll overlook the legs too, because I really, really, really enjoy how they transform. I know it's just folding, so it's not like, wow, folding, but the way it folds is cool. Zoomy. And then obviously he has his little claw thing, which you can put in from either direction, but if you put it in from the top, it's made to look like it kind of fits over his hand. For the articulation, his head is on a swivel, and it's a little limited by his kind of jutty out back of the head thing right here, but you can get it all the way around. Just takes a little doing. Like I said, these go in and out. He has a limited swivel, goes from there to there, and then an upper arm swivel, and then the ratcheted thing here that kind of is scary. It's so scary. And then he does not have any hand articulation or waist articulation. He's got ball joints, upper leg swivels, knee and shin knee, and then no foot anything. It's the pin in his tail, and then the ball joint in his tail, which you can get a lot of motion out of depending on how you have the tail swiveled. And then the other one, which actually has a lot of motion in it. And here you have a size comparison of all of the Wave 1 and 2 warrior figures in their robot modes. And they're all generally the same size. Optimus is a little bit taller, but they're all generally the same size, width, mass, all of that. There's not a huge level of variance between these figures. My final thoughts on this guy are probably not as bad as they should be, to be honest. I don't like his arms, I don't like his legs, but I really like the figure. I like his alt mode, I like his transformation, I like the way he looks. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm still putting this in the net win category. I'm not a huge fan of the looseness of some of the joints, and it's a shame that they couldn't have done a little bit more to make him more stable, but as you've seen a couple times in this review, it's pretty easy to take him from like a not standing place and make him stand. So it's really not like as terrible as everyone making it seem, but he is kind of back heavy. That's really only a lot of figures are back heavy though, so it's not like that's anything new. Other than that, it does seem like this was kind of intended, and I might be wrong. It might just be because this folds up into there for the alt mode. I guess it's possible. It kind of looks like it might have been intended at some point that this part was going to collapse, at least the wheels or something were going to collapse up into here and kind of pass through the tail or something. It would have been nice if they had figured out a way to fill in this gap or something. Maybe if the wheels somehow spun around and kind of sat in where his head was and there. Again, more parts, more price, etc. That's probably not what they were going for here. They were aiming for simplicity, and this kind of stuff right here is part of that. But like I said in my strong arm review, I don't mind Transformers having some car parts hanging off of them. That's kind of half the reason I like Transformers. Stuff like windshield arms and truck backs, that's what Transformers are to me. They're big robots that have like vehicle and animal parts sticking off them. So I don't really want them all to look like generic Lockdown from AoE. I'm not a fan of that whole super generic robot design. Yeah, I really do like his shoulders. I haven't said that at all. His shoulders just being like giant, weird spikes of doom are just kind of fun. I mean, it's really over the top because they're like twice the length of his head. But it's kind of fun. And I mentioned this in his Legions review. He's supposed to be the leader of the Decepticons now, and I haven't seen the show, so I don't want to disparage the show before I've actually had a chance to watch the show, but I'm a little weirded out by him being the leader. He doesn't scream leader to me. He doesn't seem like, oh yes, I'm going to lead a team of Decepticons. So I don't know if this is more of he's just a leader by chance because there's some kind of rogue group on Earth and they don't really have an actual de facto or an actual leader, so he just kind of sees leadership through power. I mean, that would be very Decepticon-y, so I could get on board with that if he's just kind of like a may the strongest win type of leader, but I do kind of hope at some point, and I don't need it to be Megatron, because I don't even know if he's supposed to be in the show. We have that Megatronus toy or something that was leaked, so I don't know what they're doing with that. Spoilers. He all, like, converted to non-Decepticonism and renounced his evil ways or something in the end of Predacons Rising, the Beast Hunters movie. So I don't know if he's going to come back as an Autobot in this show, or if he's just going to be kind of like a not aligned person, or if he's going to be a Decepticon again, or if he's just going to not be in it. They're bringing Optimus back, so I feel like they're probably going to bring Megatron or Galvatron or one of those types of foils, basically. So I don't know if this is going to be kind of a situation where, like, eventually down the line Shockwave shows up and he takes over the Decepticons or something. Maybe. I really would like to see Shockwave, because I want a Shockwave toy in this style really badly. I think a Shockwave Robots in Disguise 2015 toy could be awesome, so I really hope that happens. Also a Megatron. So I would really like to see a lot of toys in this figure. We saw at I think it was New York Toy Fair, I believe, the Jazz and someone else. It was Jazz and someone else, and I'm totally blanking on who the someone else was. But we saw a couple other upcoming robots. Fix It? No, here's Legion. Oh, there was another Warrior, I think, but we've seen a couple more people who are coming up in this line. Oh, it's Sideswipe, sorry. The Warrior Sideswipe is coming up with Jazz. But I don't really know who else is coming after that. They've been kind of mum on upcoming RID toys. I think they're probably waiting because they don't want to spoil characters for the show, I would assume. But yeah, I've talked about this guy probably way too long. He is just kind of a warrior class dinky toy for kids, so I enjoy him. He definitely does have his flaws. He's nowhere near perfect. The floppy arms, the scary arms, the unstable legs, they're all not great, but for some reason he's still a good toy, and I recommend him, and he's fun, and I hope you can overlook his weird flaws too and see that he's awesome. Thanks for watching. See you later.